stand for your lug nuts and then go on the sidewalk with your automobile. Lug nuts. Oh, remember to like and subscribe. Spooky theme tune, spooky show, spooky theme, spooky show, spooky theme. Yeah, anti-socialism, the opposite of communism. It's anti-socialism. Yeah. So this one, when they say, "Oh, what's your citations?" Well, citation. It came to me in the dream. I thought we should do an episode about telepathy. It's one of those things that. Oh, it's funny that. Yeah. It's this almost as if you had a premonition about me saying the T word. But it's one of those things. It's not really talked about. It is seen as woo woo. It is a bit woo woo. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you haven't had it, then there's still time. But I'm pretty sure everyone in our audience has had a telepathic moment or some sort of like moment where it's like you've had knowledge of something and it's inexplicable how you could have had that knowledge. And I think one of the best examples, or at least one of the easiest to replicate, is Graham Hancock's telephone telepathy experiment. Are you familiar with this telephone telepathy? So what it is, right, is you get in the experiment you have one of four people called the test subject, and the four people are known to the subject. And statistically speaking, the subject, when they get a call, they get a warning saying, "Oh, this is going to be." Well, that's okay. You heard me singing spooky theme tune to the theme of Black Beauty. Did you record it?
No. They wouldn't have heard it anyway because it weren't going out to OBS, but it's all fixed now.
Oh yeah, somebody by the way was saying when are you going to update the podcasts because
yes, I need to do. I've got really bad at that. I do apologise to our regular listeners.
Some of us when we're in the lorry and we're driving for like 12 hours a day, we want to listen to something, so you got to put that content out there.
I'm about 2 months behind. I need to get back on it.
Yeah, you do. But it's of all the things you could be guilty of, it's not one of the worst ones, is it? So
they are available on our. Well, I can't remember the last time I updated the YouTube. The 14 word. There's a 14 words YouTube as well, isn't there? I think that's on about episode 96.
I don't want to say anything apart from about telepathy, where you said I was going to say that, and it's like, yes, you almost had a premonition, and we did a bit of back and forth about it, and then I said,
which nobody heard.
Yeah, which was it's we were really speaking to the ether there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if they're really honest, have had at least one episode of something, somebody coming round, or somebody not spoke to someone for years, and then suddenly they appear. That kind of, like, everybody's had something like that, haven't they? Whether they just put it down to coincidence or luck, like everyone's experienced something at some level about this kind of thing.
And that's why, like, if anybody asks, what's my citation for this episode? Well, it is
living.
It came to me in the dream. Citation. It came in the dream. It happens to me fairly often, and it's not exactly telephone telepathy, but it's this idea that you're going to get in touch with someone, and you just start thinking about them unbidden. And a really good example happened to me a few weeks ago. I was looking for some shoes, and there's a shoemaker not far from where I live. So I thought, well, I'll pop in and say hello. And the woman shoemaker there, I thought, oh, she's quite pretty and very feminine voice, squeaky. I said, oh, Hobbit. And, well, she didn't say Hobbit. She said by name. And I said, yes. Hobbit. No, it's, believe it or not, it's not Hobbit. I mean, I know the guys at GCHQ are scrambling right now, but so she said, and then she said my full name, and it's like, yeah, that's me. And when she got closer to me, because she stood up and stopped her work, and I was like, I recognise you. You look familiar. And she said, yeah, we used to be in the same form together. And then I said her name, and I was like, I was just thinking about you. And then she gave me a hug, so it was very nice. She's still very pretty. But back onto the subject of telepathy and not women's tits. I hadn't thought about this woman for more than 20 years. And then just all of a sudden, I started, completely just started thinking about her. And then I thought, oh, yeah, I wonder what she's getting on with. And then a few hours later, it's like, oh, well, she's now a shoemaker, and I know that because I'm there and I'm talking with her. And I like that despite all those years passing, I made enough of an impression on her that she remembered me. So it's funny how these things work. And I do think it is based on impressions, right? So there was a little bit of, to use the modern parlance, quantum entanglement, to say that we had a connection. And we did have a connection, because you don't just start hugging people in a very affectionate manner if there's no chemistry there. She's married, by the way. So
and that boat sailed.
Yes, it has. And so the point being is, if you have a connection with someone, you will start thinking about them. It might not necessarily be a positive connection. I don't think there's any evidence of that. It's just, if someone forms a connection in your mind, I don't think it ever really goes away. And I'm not sure, because on the one hand you could say, oh yeah, well, if you've got chemistry with someone, that's just a physical thing. It's your pheromones, and it's your body's hysteresis, not hysteresis. It's your body's. There's a term for smell compatibility, and it's not hysteresis because that means like springiness. But there's not hysterectomy. That's something to do with sterilizing. But anyway, there's a fancy term for, if you've got chemistry with someone, it's physical, because you've got your pheromones and you've got your whatsits and all that. But no, there's more than that, because the thing is, if you haven't seen someone in 20 plus years, and then you meet them again, and then it's just on that day you were thinking about them, that's not chemical, that is something else. And I don't know what that something else is. But I'm going to say it's telepathy. And now someone in the chat might say, oh, Hobbit, actually, no, the term you're looking for is not telepathy. It's actually this. It might be another. I'm just going to use it as one of those catch-all terms, and I'm talking about it in the way I experience it. And then we can get a bit broader into things like quantum entanglement, how it might explain this phenomena. But here's another example, right? So that was a physical connection. A few years ago, probably 2015, 2016, best mate at school, always used to sat next to me, rings me out the blue. I've no idea how he got my number, because this number I got in 2013, I think. And like, I haven't seen this guy since probably 1999, maybe 2001, possibly. So I haven't seen him in all this time, and I got a new phone number, and yet he just rings me out the blue, and it's like, how did you get my phone? And I can't remember how he said he got it, but anyway, we're just talking, just like no time has passed whatsoever. Much like Brutus and Grief when they get onto their stream a few days ago. And just talking again. It's the funny thing is, my best mate at school, I was just thinking about you. And it's weird, right? I can't do it. It's not an active ability. It's not as if I can just suddenly think like about an ex-lover, and then they'll get in touch with me and say, "Oh, I was just thinking about you and how sexy you are." Hobbit the Stoner.
Do you think there's an element of reciprocation then, where
Um,
the other person wants to talk to you as well?
Well, you see, that's the thing. I've never experienced it from the other end. I've never had somebody saying to me like I've never been in experience where I was just like, yeah, I had to, say hello to someone, and it's like, oh, I was just thinking about you.
So, did you want me to do some of the science bit about telepathy, just to give you a rest for a sec?
Oh yeah, you could do.
Yeah. So, telepathy is from the Greek. So, tele meaning distant, and pathos or pathia meaning feeling, perception, passion, affliction, or experience.
So I think that is the right term for what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, it does sound like it. According to Wikipedia/Snopes, telepathy experiments have historically been criticised for a lack of proper controls and repeatability. There is no good evidence that telepathy exists, and the topic is generally considered by the scientific community to be pseudoscience.
Well, Graham Hancock did do an experiment about it, and this is one of the things which got missed out in the.
There are several forms of telepathy have been suggested. So you've got latent telepathy, formerly known as deferred telepathy, describes a transfer of information with an observable time lag between transmission and reception. There's retrocognitive, precognitive, and intuitive telepathy. This describes the transfer of information about the past, future, or present state of an individual's mind to another individual. You've got emotive telepathy, also known as remote influence or emotional transfer, describes the transfer of kinesthetic sensations through altered states. And then you've got superconscious telepathy, which describes the use of supposed superconscious to access the collective wisdom of the human species for knowledge.
Okay. An experiment has been done to at least get some data about
Actually, you remember Ghostbusters where he's showing the bird the cards? And doing that? Yeah. So actually, they're called Xena. It's spelled Zener, so it's Xena cards. Xena
they
cards
were
are
also featured in Starship Troopers.
Oh, are they? Oh, what? When what's his name?
He joins the intelligence service because he's got precognitive abilities.
Yeah. So the Xena cards are marked with 5 distinctive symbols. When using them, one individual is designated the sender and the other receiver. The sender selects a random card and visualizes the symbol on it, while the receiver attempts to determine that symbol telepathically. Statistically, the receiver has a 20% chance of randomly guessing the correct symbol. So to demonstrate telepathy, they must repeatedly score a success rate that is significantly higher than 20%. If not conducted properly, this method is vulnerable to sensory leakage and card counting. What is sensory leakage?
Oh, I mean, maybe it's like your feelings are transferring into others.
It's a term used to refer to information that is transferred by a person to a person by conventional means during an experiment into PSI.
Okay. I mean, so getting back to this Graham Hancock, I might as well just recap it for those that weren't able to hear it. So that's
after that, we can talk about the Gansfield experiment. There's another one.
Yeah, okay. So Graham Hancock devised an experiment, right? You got your control subject, and prior to the experiment being conducted, the experiment organizer will ring up like one of the one of the 4 control subject. Now, let's get these terms right. So you got a test subject, and he's nominated 4 people to
Interdimensional Lizard says, are you sure you're not being gang stalked by all these 4 schoolmates hobbits?
Well, it's like because gang stalking is an unpleasant thing, right? So it's not unpleasant. I mean, if you got a pretty woman and she's hugging you and you can feel her tits and it's quite nice. or if it's your best mate at school asking how you are and how's life and how's tricks, or if it's someone like you look forward to spending time with, and they just say hello, and it's like, oh, I was just thinking about you, and then they share some nudes, then it's quite a different thing. But Graham Hancock does an experiment, telephone telepathy. So you get like one person who's going to be rung, and then there's 4 like random choices that can ring him. So the experiment conductor, just like roll a dice or random number generation, just say, all right, subject C, go and ring up the test subject, and so they'll ring them. But before that happens, the one running the experiment says, it's part of the experiment time. Someone's going to call you at random. Just mark in the book which one you think it is. Statistically speaking, you've got a 1 in 4 chance of making that right, or a 25% probability. In the experiment, I believe the number was 71%. But rather than just making these numbers up, because everybody knows like 10% of all statistics are made on the spot. Well, if I type in Graham, I think it's Graham Hancock. Otherwise, it's Rupert Sheldrake. Graham Hancock, telephone, telepathy, experiment. It might be Rupert Sheldrake, actually. I think Graham Hancock wrote Chariot of the Gods. Genetic telepathy, a bizarre new property of DNA. GrahamHancock.com. Sieverts and psychic piracy. Oh, that's interesting. But that's not what it was. I think it's Rupert Sheldrake. So let's type in Rupert. Such a weird name, Rupert. Where does that name come from? Is that German? Rupert Sheldrake. Rupert? Telepathy, Rupert Sheldrake. Ah, yep, so it is Rupert Sheldrake. Sorry, getting the names mixed up. Winston's here. Oh, it means he's got internet. Tell your mate he owes me 60 quid for the speakers and amp. I look forward to getting that money soon.
Oh, so you know Winston then, do you?
I believe I know who he is, yes.
Yeah.
So here we go. This is Rupert Sheldrake. I'll just copy the link so Emmy can share it along with.
Well, it didn't
the
seem
chat.
like a friend of yours. He said evening Hemmy. He didn't say evening Hobby.
Yeah, but that's because I get not so much to even by IRL friends. So.
Yeah.
My research on telepathy and animals, summarised in my book Dogs That Know When Their Owners Are Coming Home, is published in detail in a series of papers which are listed below. Led me to see telepathy.
I can confirm this. Like, my dog that is the dumbest dog ever, even he knows when my missus is coming home. Like, his mood will change, like, a little while before she gets there. I mean, there's a small chance he could be hearing. I mean, he may recognise her car.
Well, the way you got to do it is make her come to, like, the door, like, park the car somewhere, like, 200 yards away, and then walk to the door.
Oh, but he might recognise her footsteps. Get her dropped in by helicopter. A parachute.
Get her in a wheelchair or a pushcart or a skateboard or something.
Get her to come home on a Boris scooter.
But the thing is, right, no, Hemmy's dog is so dumb that you can go for a walk with him, you can ring the front doorbell, and then hearing the front door
from outside the house.
Yes. So Hemmy is not exaggerating when he's saying his dog is dumb. So, what does Graham Hancock? Fuck off, Graham Hancock. We'll get round to you later. What does Rupert Sheldrake have to say about this? So anyway, this led him to believe that telepathy is not a paranormal phenomena, but a normal phenomena. An aspect of communication between members of animal social groups.
Oh, I've got to read some more of this this Wikipedia out because it is like Snopes. It really is.
It's Snopes, but they do it for free.
Yeah, it's Snopes, but free journalism. Is that? I thought they didn't play Snopes journalists.
Well, the guys that run it, I mean, he had enough money to buy hookers and cocaine and divorce his wife and marry a hooker.
Yeah.
So he's making some money from that website. Yeah, you're going to read a bit?
What am I reading?
Oh, you said you're going to
Oh,
read a
do you want
bit
me to
from
do it? But yeah,
Wikipedia.
so you've got the Gansfield experiment. When using the Gansfield experiment to test for telepathy, so what's this say? It's an assessment used by parapsychologists that they contest for. I love the way the wording of it. A Gansfield experiment is an assessment used by parapsychologists that they contend. Not
Working Thursday, Ian. That's why.
that they contest for extrasensory perception. It's just the way, like, well, yeah, if you believed in this bullshit, it's like they don't go like the Gansfield test is a test used to test for extrasensory perception that they contest. It's like,
Well,
shouldn't we go like flooding is something that Al Gore contends will happen to New York by the year 2008.
Or physicists contend that when you heat up a kettle, the water inside will boil.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. I mean, yeah, it's so contended and contested this experiment that the RAF in the 1940s were doing ESP experiments on servicemen.
Well, I
to
doubt
see-
I doubt the CIA have ever stopped trying to find telepathy. Do you?
But the thing is, I know that the RAF were conducting ESP experiments in the 1940s because when my grandfather did his national service, they did it on him, and based on his test results, they put him into the radar because prior to modern radar, I, I believe I can share this stuff. I don't think I'm divulging state secrets. The first type of radar you had was
Well,
known
if
as
we hear a door kicked in and you saying you can't breathe because somebody's foot's on your neck, we'll know that you have.
Yes, Ian, I'm working Thursday. That's why we're doing it today. So, anyway, Grandad, congratulations, you passed the psychic test. You're now going to be on radar. Oh, I didn't know I was psychic. Well, neither did we until we did the test. So, what's this psychic stuff?
Well, definitely hop on then, Ian. Give us your thoughts on ESP.
So he's like, right, here's a screen, and it's an oscilloscope, right? And it's not like a normal modern radar screen where it goes round and round in circles and you've got these dots and then
Is he like Dozer in the Matrix, is he?
Yes, actually, literally, yes, he is. So what modern radar do is they analyze the signal many times a second, and they do something called signal to noise ratio averaging, and it's also used in image correction as well. So if you get a fuzzy image, you can sharpen it up a bit. And you want to use that in radar because you want to separate a signal, which is like a radar signature.
You mean
from
like they
an
do on
aircraft.
CSI when they have like a 144p image and then they just sharpen it up to 1080p.
Or they do what they did in Blade Runner, which I think is like, it's fun. It's like, but wouldn't it have just been easier if you'd given him a mouse and keyboard? But it don't matter. It really don't matter.
You're in the desert and there's a turtle on its back, of it. Is that
Yeah.
the question? I haven't seen Blade Runner in so long.
It's on its back. It can't go. You're there, and you don't flip it over. Why is that?
Yeah.
The idea behind that thing is like with a human, you could just be like, well, why wouldn't I do that? Of course I would. I don't know. I'd take it with me because neither of us should be in the desert. It's an aquatic animal.
Yeah. How did it get there? That's the question. It's how did the turtle get there? Is that what the real answer to it is? How did the fucking turtle get there?
Whereas with the replicant, they'll start to like spurg out and like break the table and snap the interviewer's neck. So that's how they know they're dealing with a replicant. But back to the subject of telepathy and ESP. So they did it on my granddad, and it's like, right, you passed the test. Okay, we want you to look at this oscilloscope. So again, it's not like a modern radar.
Hold on. Ian says, I knew a guy with big ears. We nicknamed him Radar. No, incorrect, Ian. If you see a man with big ears, you've got to call him Wingnut.
Or big ears.
You're wrong. It's got to be Wingnut. Wingnut is the only acceptable
Prince Charles,
insult.
Noddy.
Yeah.
Except he didn't have big ears. It was his mate.
Yeah. Do you know why elephants have got big ears?
So that they can listen to our episode every Thursday, 7 p.m.
No, because Noddy didn't pay the ransom.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to ESP. Before modern radar, what they were, you had an oscilloscope and it had a line on it, and the line would look a lot like a bunch of grass. And if there was a big spike in the grass, you could say, well, that's a signal. And if it was coming towards you, this signal, you would see the spike going from the right of the screen to the left of the screen. Now, sometimes it's really hard to tell, like there's actually a piece of signal amongst all that noise, because you just see a spike and it's just, most people, they can't see anything. But my granddad, he could see it and he could say, yeah, there's an aircraft there. And then they go and send, this was during his national service, they go and send some interceptors to go and see what it was and confirm, like, yeah, it's the Soviets. And they go and then fly over and dissuade the Soviets from coming over to their part of Germany. And so this is what they did, but prior to computers doing the radar stuff, you had to have men, because for whatever reason women weren't able to do radar imaging. You had to have men which were sensitive and which had extrasensory perception. And this is diverging a bit from telepathy. Oh, but that's it, yeah, because you're talking about the Gainesfield experiment. Well, that's the thing. This Gainesfield experiment, the RAF and other forces did it. And the
Gansfield evidence is they contend that it can test for ESP. I bet.
Right, and it's just like those Zeta cards. What was it? The thing
right. So when using a Gansfield experiment to test for telepathy, one individual designated a receiver and placed inside a controlled environment where they are deprived of sensory input, and another person is designated as the sender and placed in a separate location. So this is more, I think this is more rigorous than the other experiment with the cards. The receiver is then required to receive information from the sender. The nature of the information may vary between experiments, so they're not necessarily using the cards. The Gansfield experiment studies were examined by Ray Hyman and Charles Honiton, had methodological problems that were well documented. Honiton reported that only 36% of the studies used duplicate target sets of pictures to avoid handling cues. I don't know. What do they mean by that, Hobbit?
Again, like, they're saying there's errors in their testing methodology, like,
yeah,
because they're not using duplicates. Then I don't know. Just they're trying to rubbish this thing. Where I just want to get on the facts. Like, right, this is the facts. This is what I know.
Here you go. It's general. You can read along with me. I chucked it in general, so you can read the same thing as I am. So what else did they say? Hyman discovered flaws in all of the 42 Gansfield experiments, and to access each experiment, he devised a set of 12 categories of flaws. 6 of these concerned to statistical defects. The other 6 covered procedural flaws, such as inadequate documentation, randomization, and security, as well as possibilities of sensory leakage. Yep.
I mean, like, some might say this is interesting, but it's not actually telling us about telepathy. It's just telling us about a bunch of high-leck NPCs which go, no, there's nothing more to the world.
Yeah, it doesn't actually. I'll tell you what, shall I go onto the Gansfield experiment wiki? I actually thought that was a bloke's name, but it's not, from the German words for entire and field.
Yeah, Gansfeld.
Yeah.
Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to carry on reading from Rupert Sheldrake's thing on telepathy.
Oh, right, I only had to click on a link on there already. But
do
you want to do your Rupert Sheldrake?
I'll do this. So he says, this is Rupert Sheldrake. He says, I see psychic phenomena as an extension of biology, which is why I, as a biologist, am interested in them. The same principles apply to human telepathy, and I have investigated little exploited aspects of human telepathy, such as telepathy between mothers and babies, telephone telepathy, which is thinking of someone who soon afterwards calls, and email telepathy, so email, telephones, instant messaging, or you think about someone and then you just happen to go to their place of work and you haven't seen them in 20 plus years. That I would all call that telephone telepathy. I've designed several automated telepathy tests, I've designed several automated telepathy tests, some of which can be carried out through this website. So I'm going to post the website onto the chat. So if people want to do this, yes, Dom, I'm working Thursday. That's why we're doing a thing now. I think telepathy has evolved, like other biological abilities, subject to natural selection. And my lecture on the evolution of telepathy at Cambridge University is online here, and there's like a link to evolution of telepathy.
Did you know Ian had a Girk friend?
A Girk friend, yeah. Okay. The research is summarised in my book, The Sense of Being Stared At and Other Aspects of the Extended Mind. That's the thing. Have we done the thing about like the special forces saying that when you're about to like stab someone in the back or kill them, don't look directly at them, because even if their back's to you and you're looking directly at
even
them,
the special forces are told this. The special forces are trained not to look at someone before they kill someone.
because otherwise you might make the hairs on the back of their neck rise up, and then they'll turn around to look at you. And so, how does that work? So this is someone who's a complete stranger to you and wishes you hostile intent, and then suddenly you got a feeling like, oh, I'm being watched. I'm going to turn around. What is this? The research is summarised in my book, The Sense of Being Stared At and Other Aspects of the Extended Mind, which is from 2003. A fully revised and updated edition was published in the US in 2013. And there's start the experiment now. So you can do an experiment, you can do automated tests. Now, where is the... there's a PDF for an automated test. Because I want to say, I'm pretty sure the number was quoted...
Hey, Hobbit, you buried the lead. Telephone telepathy with the Nolan sisters.
I don't know enough about the Nolan sisters. They were a
I'm in the mood for dancing. They got the full PDF as well of the filmed experiment on telephone telepathy with the Nolan sisters.
Okay. I got the numbers wrong, right? So, objective, to carry out automated experiments on mobile phones to test for telepathy in connection with telephone calls. Subjects aged from 10 to 83 registered online with the names and mobile telephone numbers of 3 or 2 senders. Oh, this is a different experiment, because in that one it was 4. A computer selected the sender...
The sheldrake, it is quite a hard experiment to do, isn't it? Because the person who's the receiver knows they're going to get a phone call at some time that day, don't they?
Well, you get like, you know you're participating in an experiment, but at the same time you still have to guess.
So you've still got like a 1 in 4 chance when you know...
Yeah.
So is the study
in this example?
Is the study when someone gets a feeling someone's going to get a phone call, they write down they think they're going to get a phone call and who they're going to do it, or is it just the phone call's going to ring on the hour and they've got to try and figure out who's going to?
Well, I mean, I did explain this earlier on, and if you've got like 4 senders, you've got a 1 in 4 chance of guessing correctly. So if you've got
so they're getting a phone call at a specific time. And they've got to guess who's sending it.
So if you're getting any results, any hits above 25%, that could be statistically significant. Right.
I think to make it a better experiment, I'd do it at... They've got to say that when they think they're going to get a phone call... I'd make it more random than that. So I'd make it that they've got to know they're getting a phone call and who's calling.
Just repeating for those that may have missed it at the beginning, the one experiment I was aware of is you have to get... This isn't an automated one. You have to get like the researcher that gives somebody a call. It's like, hello, I'm doing the experiment now. In the next few minutes, you're going to get a call from one of the test subjects. Just mark in your notebook which one you think it is prior to getting the call. Right. So, study method. Subjects aged from 10 to 83 registered online with the names and mobile telephone numbers of 3 or 2 senders. A computer selected the sender at random and asked him to call the subject via the computer. The computer then asked the subject to guess the caller's name. Right, so that, takes out the chance of, they just put the result in the notebook afterwards. So the computer then asked the subject to guess the caller's name and connected the caller and the subject after receiving the guess. A test consisted of 6 trials. The effects of the subject's sex and age and effects of time delays on guesses. That was the interactions evaluated. Main outcome measure. The proportion of correct guesses of the caller's name compared with the 33.3% or 50% mean chance expectations. Main results. In 2080 trials with 3 callers, there was an 869 hits, which is 41.8%, which is above the 33.3% chance level. And then there's a formula there, which I'm not going to read out.
Is there like a plus or minus on chance, though?
Yeah, and if you want to get into the maths of it, that's great, but I'm not going to get into the maths of game theory. I just
testes.
Yeah,
Here
hello.
he is.
I just want to talk about telepathy and what I know.
The guy's name was Hyman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the guy ripping it apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the hit rate in incomplete tests was 43.8%. I don't know what that means.
It's a Wednesday, not a Thursday. What's going on?
Hobbit's working schedule.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
No,
The
actually,
thing is
I
with
decided
this-
to be a prick and say, fuck you, I'm not doing Thursdays anymore. That's why.
On
Thing is, we were trying to avoid getting you two on.
It didn't work, unfortunately. So, instead of
yeah, the thing.
yeah,
I was going to say the thing with these telephone tests. That surely the results are going to be skewed by the fact the subjects know that they're taking the test, and also that you could think about someone a million times and completely forget about it because your brain completely discards irrelevant information, and that first time.
That's a bit like saying, "Oh, you know the lottery is going to be on Wednesdays. You've got to guess the 7 numbers." I mean,
the only thing I'm saying is like they know they're going to get a phone call from 1 out of 4 people on an hour. I think maybe what would be a better one would be during a whole week, 1 person of the 4 rings. But then again, that's
right. Okay,
yeah.
So we're talking.
I think there are better ways of doing the experiment.
Circles here, aren't we? I mean, we can talk about how to improve the experiment afterwards.
Yeah.
But let's just read the summary because I'm like 2/3 through it now.
Yeah, okay.
In 745 trials with 2 callers, there were 411 hits, which is 55.2%. So that's like 5.2% above the 50% chance level. An analysis of the data made it very unlikely that cheating could explain the positive results. The experiment showed that automated tests with telephone telepathy, try saying that a few times, can be carried out using mobile phones.
4 people a big enough sample size, though?
No, 2080.
What? So 2080 got we're in the experiment.
That's a good. No, there's more than 2080 because there's 2080 experiments done. So that must have been like multiples of 3 or 4. If when you're talking about sample size, I mean, when you see those adverts for cosmetics, they say like 79% of 83 women polled all agreed that our cream was the best cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like 61% of 43 dentists agreed that our toothpaste is the best. I'm like,
and there were only 4 people. There were only 4 people polled.
It's like why have you got such small sample sets? Surely you know if you're a big
because they don't want any adverse reviews, do they?
Or you don't want the dentist saying no. Actually, I think Colgate's rubbish. You can just go to get Tesco's own brand.
Can anybody remember that one, the smoking advert? It's like, is it 9 out of 10 doctors said smoking is great? Didn't they?
Well, then they said smoking was it like Newports or Lucky Strikes?
Yeah.
Or our doctor recommended. They're smoother. They got the new filter in them, and so before we go into like how you or Ian or Dom are going to make a good telephone telepathy test, can I just say, in addition to my grandfather being selected by the IRF for his ESP abilities, my great uncle was over in Australia as a water dowser, and I too can do dowsing. So maybe there is something to be said that these abilities are naturally.
I don't think dowsing's. I actually know a guy. I used to meet him now and again. I shan't say what firm he worked for, but like part of his firm was he had to figure out where like water and power supplies were. So I think
water.
So the water supplies he used to use dowsing rods for. Like, and this was like a completely like. It wasn't a woo-woo guy. He was a very normal like facilities manager type guy, and he actually used he'd made his own dowsing rods and he used dowsing rods to find water supplies.
Just to recycle some old episodes, I think we talked about the full moon and how there's, statistically speaking, there's more violence and weird stuff happening and police call-outs on full moons, and the body does react to water, and the moon has an effect on the tides. So maybe there's something to be said for that. Yes, when you go over a body of water, your body reacts to it ever so slightly.
Well, there are links between like really haunted places being right over sources of running water.
Although I remember Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining how the conception is higher on full moons.
Yo, ain't science amazing, bitch?
Yeah, but then he went on to explain the reason being is because full moons are romantic. So,
where's this scientific evidence?
That's not very science, is it?
You can see what you're doing. You can see what you're doing as well.
Gonna lay you down by the fire. Gonna lay you down by the full moon.
I'm saying that's bullshit.
Woman.
No, there's nothing romantic about it. Yeah. Fuck you, Neil Snake in the Grass Tyson.
I think Ian's thing was probably right. It's you can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
But we have lights, and also can't you just feel your way?
Right, so let's have a look at. So you want to know about the Gansfield experiment, Hobbit?
I'd say like 90% of all the sex I've had has been during daylight.
Mm.
I don't know about you guys, but like, why do you wait for when you're tired to do it?
Public toilets don't open in the night, though, do they?
I'm sorry, I hadn't thought of that demographic.
George Michael gag slipped in there.
Yeah, but I don't think they're concerned with, it's so romantic in the full moon. Let's go to the public toilets and avail ourselves of the condoms.
I used to go on in the toilets in Cemetery Junction, Tom. There was a dwarf who used to hang around there. So,
do you remember Julian Clary at the Comedy Awards? Oh, it looks like Hampstead Heath. I've just been visiting Norman Lamont. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was everyone was just so shocked because it was live, wasn't it? I think it was Channel 4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right. The Gansfield experiment. The Gansfeld. I keep saying field. There's no I in there. It's Gansfeld.
Well, technically you're right because Feld is German for field. So
in a typical Gansfield experiment, Gansfeld experiment, a receiver is placed in
Gainesfield.
Come on,
let's just translate it into English.
Gainesfield is placed in a room, relaxing in a comfortable chair with halved ping pong balls over the eyes. What the fuck? This sounds... What?
Are they just like... Did the Germans not understand about blindfolds?
Having a red light shone on... This is... easy, Ace.
They draw a little eye like pupil on the eyeball on the ping pong balls.
The receiver also wears a set of headphones through which white or pink noise. Has anybody ever heard of pink noise?
Yeah,
that's how you get on Hampstead Heath, isn't
it? Pink noise is less harsh than white noise.
And there's a lot of pink noise on Hampstead tonight.
I've heard of the brown noise.
Yes. Brown noise.
They get the brown noise that is sent through their headphones.
These are all actually technical terms. They're not funny. Stop trying to make humorous stuff out of science.
The receiver the receiver is in this state
Yeah.
of mild sensory deprivation for half an hour. During this
It was the
time, a
receiver.
sender observes a randomly chosen target and tries to mentally send this information to the receiver. The receiver speaks out loud during the 30 minutes, describing what he or she can see. This is recorded by the experimenter, who is blind to the target, either by recording onto tape or by taking notes, and is used to help the receiver during the judging procedure. In the judging procedure, the receiver is taken out of the Ganzfeld state and is given a set of possible targets from which they select one which most resembled the images they witnessed. Most commonly, there are 3 decoys along with the target, given an expected rate of 25% by chance over several dozens of trials. Some parapsychologists who accept the existence of PSI have proposed that certain personality traits can enhance ESP performance. Such parapsychologists have argued that certain characteristics in the participants could be selected for what could increase the scores of Ganzfeld experiments. Such traits have included the following: positive belief in PSI, ESP, prior PSI experiences, practicing a mental discipline such as meditation, creativity, artistic ability, or emotional closeness with the sender. Critics have pointed out that relying on selection criteria like this can introduce a bias in the experimental design, and so generally discussion of any claimed effects has typically included only studies that sample normal populations rather than selecting for special participants. See below.
This is all very like, I don't know if you've mentioned this already. It's all very like The Men Who Stare at Goats, isn't it? Seen that film?
Yeah.
I didn't because it had George Clooney in it, and I dislike him as an actor.
Oh, it's a good film. If you can get past that, you should watch it.
The other reason I think is because they're trying to make light of MK Ultra and like saying, "Oh, isn't it silly? They just got men to stare at goats," and so I never watched.
So, did you know they did the Auto Ganzfeld? In 1982, Honiton had started a series of Auto Ganzfeld experiments. That is, Ganzfeld experiments controlled by a computer.
Alright.
So what's this? So, and again, they keep talking about the analysis. They don't tell you about the experiment enough, do they?
They
so
don't
they're saying
want you
the
to
same.
do it for yourself.
Yeah, so like they won't tell you about this. They'll tell you it happened, but they'll tell you what happened to him, but not why, or why it happened, but not what.
They'll tell you what happened, but not the how.
Yeah.
So hang on, who's conducting these experiments? I mean, is this like a government body?
So
or
this geezer Honiton, isn't it? So who's Honiton? Like, there's no hyperlink for Honiton. Charles Honiton. Let's have a look.
Is this like the phony like pharmaceutical industry experiments where they fucking mark their own homework, you know?
I remember Geller. Geller was
Henry,
involved in one of these experiments.
Charles
as
Henry
well,
Honiton was an American parapsychologist and was one of the leaders of a collegial group of researchers who were determined to apply established scientific research methods to the examination of what they called anomalous information transfer, which is ESP, another which is extrasensory perception, and other phenomena associated with the mind-body problem, an idea that mind might, at least in some respects, have physical existence on the independent of the body.
The independent of the body, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, isn't like the brain and thoughts kind of like proof of that?
I only tuned in late. Did you cover that guy who could think photographs? He'd look at the camera, concentrate really hard, and a photograph would, and he'd think an image on the film.
Oh God, what's that called? I can't remember what that is. Yeah,
the guy used to do it.
The other one is called remote viewing, and Uri Geller was employed by Mossad to do some remote viewing.
So it's not him again.
So what? Okay, then let's ask this question: is he crank or is he crank or correct? I mean, do you think he ever worked for the CIA? Do you think he ever worked for the CIA?
Mossad.
Mossad then.
Yeah.
Well, no. Apparently, he used to work for the CIA, didn't he?
CIA, Mossad, same difference, isn't it? It's just like, it's like,
Well,
do
I don't know.
you work
One of them, they have Saturdays off, don't they?
Do you work upstairs or downstairs in this building called Evil Intelligence Agency Incorporated? But I reckon he was correct, and the stage show stuff he did was just like, see, it's all like bullshit, and I just press on the spoon slightly, and then they bend, and then people go, oh yeah, there's nothing ESP about Uri Geller then. So we'll just.
But then again, he couldn't
it.
bend that spoon that he didn't take with him, did he?
Yeah, that was given to him. Like, I'm just not feeling it right now.
I reckon that was part of the act as well. I think like Penn and Teller are a lot like that. I do enjoy their shows because they do know how to entertain, but a lot of it's just like magic is bullshit, and they did that show in the early 2000s.
Like the. Do you remember
bullshit.
The Masked Magician? Did you ever watch The Masked Magician, where he'd tell you how all the tricks were done?
Yeah, it's like
good.
Penn and Teller, but without any of the charisma. So no.
Yeah, it was.
They gave
Mitch Pileggi, weren't it?
They gave you a
Who's he?
peek behind the curtain, didn't
Mitch
they?
Pileggi was. What was Mitch Pileggi's thing in the X-Files? He was.
He's the smoking man.
No, he was Mulder's boss. He's the big bald guy.
Yeah, that's right.
He was Shocker. He was in Shocker as well. I don't know if
Right, because I thought Mitch Pileggi was the one who smokes a load of cigarettes and had the wavy.
No,
dark
Mitch
hair.
Pileggi was his. Oh fuck! Hold on, I'm gonna have to look now.
Damn it, Mulder! You don't play by the books. I'm signing you an agent, Agent Scully. She's gonna make sure you don't do any of this woo-woo bullshit anymore.
I just loved the way
and Debbie McGee.
It was awful to start with, weren't it? The X-Files, the way she would just like whatever it was, she'd just deny it, however obvious it was.
She was the living embodiment of Snopes.
Yeah, she was Snopes.
I mean, literally.
Except for that, do you remember that there was that one episode where she believed in it, but he didn't. They did that one episode, didn't they?
No, I haven't seen much of.
Fucking hell! Did you know Mitch Pileggi played Paul Winkle in the A-Team?
No.
It was Paul Winkle.
I don't know, but it sounds good. Skinner. He was Skinner, weren't he? Deputy Skinner, weren't he?
That's it, yeah.
FBI Assistant Director Walter Skinner, that's who he played.
I think I watched the episode written by Stephen King about an autistic girl that had telekinesis, and whenever someone was being rude to her, she'd cause them to die in horrible ways. Like, there was an assistant says, no, you can't. This was in a diner or so. I was like, no, you can't have ice cream for free. So she just
fire starter.
She just
she started fires.
No. In this one, she frowns at her, and then like her hair gets caught in a Slurpee machine, and it pulls her, scalps her.
Oh, it sounds a bit more. That sounds a bit more like Damien, doesn't it?
Well, in this episode, it's just. Oh, and that's it. She had a doll which would say things like, I want to play, and things would get caught on fire. But
yeah, I've got one of those dolls as well.
Sounds like a mixture of Firestarter and Child's Play.
Have you ever heard of the Gansfeld effect?
Someone's mic is horrible, distorted, and loud. Is it my one?
That's Dom.
It's not my one.
No, it's Dom. It's Dom. Dom's super hot. Coming in hot. Okay, he's coming in super hot. You're upsetting the autists in the chat.
Yeah. You apologise to Ploperator right now.
How's that? Is that better?
That's a little bit better.
Hey, I was looking up for some more material to talk about this telepathy thing, right? And this is from Graham Hancock called Cyverts and Psychic Piracy. And
Scully was fit as fuck. Does anyone remember the FHM? Do you remember the FH? You like Dom and Ian will remember this. Do you remember the FHM and how many, how like stupid amounts of money that was fetching on eBay because people wanted to buy it?
I do remember reading
a lads mag, wasn't it?
Yeah.
My mate went out with an FHM model.
Oh, did he? Nice.
It was me.
Ian
I
used
do
to model
remember-
wristwatches for him, dude.
I do remember reading a fan fiction where Scully gets an anal probe and then a genetically modified, but not genetically modified by humans, but genetically modified by space aliens. They genetically modify this gorilla to like rape her repeatedly.
Why?
Because it's fan fiction, and it's like this is what the fans writing.
What's it called? The Sex Files.
Oh, it's probably
Does
called
anyone remember that David Duchovny used to be in the Red Shoe Diaries, which was soft porn?
He was, but he's such a perv in real life. Anyway, the reason I want to mention this Cyverts and psychic piracy thing is because the author is called Dr. David Luke. Dr. David Luke lectures.
I'd never
in
trust
psychology.
anybody with two Christian names for a name.
Well, but what about Dr. David Duke? Because Duke's not a Christian name, is it?
Well, it is, isn't it? You're probably down south, isn't it?
Duke? No, Duke's a title. It's not a name.
Did you know where? Did you know there's also the Gansfeld effect? So the Gansfeld effect, or perceptual deprivation, is
You're
a phenomenon.
obsessed with Gansfeld.
I am now, mate. It's all over the place. It's one of those things. You know when you get a new, when you get a new car, you get a new car and you see your car everywhere. It's like that. I just see Gansfeld everywhere now.
I've got some tarot cards. What if I hold up one and ask the audience and you what one I'm holding one up? See, shall I do that?
Should we do it? Let's do a psychic experiment.
Okay, I'll go and get my cards.
Okay.
Maybe
It's going to be like Ghostbusters.
or a bit like
We're going to
Roger Moore in Live and Let.
shock Hobbit if we get it wrong. We're going to zap Hobbit if we get it wrong.
Roger Moore did in Live and Let Die, where he pulled the psychic
Jane
woman
Seymour.
by having
Jane Seymour.
Yeah, by having all the same. That's a good trick. That is. I'll have to try that one.
I'll choose one of the major arcana because they're like the ones got the pictures on it and the faces and all. So I've picked one. And let me see. Right, I've got a major arcana. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm pretty sure it's cups, so I'm going to say, is it the 5 of cups?
No, it's
yes. No. You're not supposed to say yes, are you, Hobbit? You're not supposed to say what?
Hemi. It's one of the major arcana.
I don't even know what that is.
All right, so
Is
in
Is it Mr.
tarot,
Bun the Baker?
how about I right?
Is it
so
Mr. Bun the Baker, Hobbit?
For those of you not aware of what tarot is, you've got your minor arcana, which is like your
8 of
clubs,
diamonds.
8 and all that. And then you've got your major arcana, which are figures like the sun, the moon, the wheel, death, the lovers.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, Hob, is like that. I know it's the sun now because you said the sun first.
It's not the sun.
Right, hold on. I've got to try.
It's a Factorio-themed tarot deck. Now, funny enough, Lizard, I was talking about making a Trailer Park Boys themed tarot deck because I thought like Ricky could be the fool.
Are you concentrating hard enough on the card though to put the thought?
Damien says Red Shoe Diaries was peak Channel 5 with Nazi docs. Like I remember the Red Shoe Diaries when it was on. Did anyone have like analog satellite before it went
Red
digital?
Shoe Diaries, Compromising Situations, Eurotrash was a lot better.
That was peak. Like I'm trying to think what's. I think my mate had it in cable.
Well, this is the thing. Prior to like the internet being a real thing, like pornography was on terrestrial television. This is like, you know.
Speaking of which,
and in the catalogue,
porn cards,
and in the catalogue as well, the Littlewoods catalogue.
Got some grotty old porn. You know those old porn playing cards.
Oh yeah,
they've got loads of bush and everything, and it's really graphic. So if I dig them out, you can guess the position.
And you tend to find them in the bush.
Guess the position. Right, we're gonna do. Right, so we're gonna do. I don't. Why do you have to be so
Reverse cowboy.
like? Why do you have to even be autistic about tarot cards? I mean, when you just go, "I'm holding up a tarot card. What is it?" Rather than going, "Well, I'm picking up one of the major arcana."
Because I want to narrow it down. Because if I pick one of the minor ones and someone said, "Oh, is it diamonds or is it clubs?" and then I put, "Well, it's one of those." I mean, it's just. If I pick one, it's like you've got 14 different. I think it's 14 different major arcana, and they're all like pictures and stuff. They're not numbers.
So it's like the Fool, the Tower, etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a shuffle. Pick out another one then.
There is some kind of trick to it, though, because Darren Brown did it on the TV, and he said, "I'm going to think of something, and I want you at home to think of something." And I thought, well, I'll catch him out.
Isn't it to do with what he puts in the background?
I'm not sure, but I thought of a cow. I thought, you'll never guess that. I thought, right, I'll think of a cow. He'll never guess that. Because a cow, it was, obviously it was a trick, but...
He kind of seeds your brain with kind of verbal or visual clues beforehand.
I thought I was above that, though.
That's the thing. I don't want to trick people. I genuinely just want to see, audience and those participating. Like, I'm holding up a card here, and you guys can have a guess as to what it is. I'll take a photograph of it, and what I'll do is I'll send it to Hammy towards the end.
Mind.
It's the picture of a fucking card, mate.
Right.
That's what I do, innit?
Major
arcana. I know. I just I'm turning into a proper Capstanistan here.
Hey, it's my stick.
Do you remember when Capstan was going to come onto this show and he was going to tell us about fucking what's that thing called?
Sons of Anarchy.
No, Dunblane.
Yeah, he was, weren't he? He was going to talk to us about Dunblane.
Guys, I know so much about Dunblane. I could probably spend at least 10 hours just talking about it. It's like, great, come on the show.
I've picked one. Who else has picked one?
A major arcana, is it?
Yeah, hold on. I've got a list of it on Wikipedia, so I'll stick it in general.
I'm going for the Hanged Man.
I'm going for the Moon.
I said the Hermit.
Right.
Okay, anyone right?
I'm not allowed to pick one because I just picked the card. So
yeah, so you've got to tell us now, Hobbit.
Yeah.
All right, but chat. So Hermit. That's,
hold on a sec. Let chat. If anyone in chat wants to have a guess.
So we'll come back to it perhaps towards the end of the episode, right? I've taken the picture. I've sent it to Mrs. Hemmingford. So,
she ain't gonna know what the fuck's going on.
and then towards the end of the episode, I can say, well, the card I was looking at was this one.
Yeah. So if anyone wants a guess.
What do we win?
Can have a guess.
Well, what you win is the satisfaction of knowing that you've got some sort of telepathic connection.
What's on the end of the stick, Vic?
I win. You got to send me £5.
We're gonna spin the wheel of justice, Dom.
There's no cash reward for this
spin
game.
the wheel of justice. See how fast it spins.
Hal can tune it.
We've done. I'm going to see if I can find anything more about telepathy.
So anyway, the Gansfeld effect is more like sensory deprivation. So the Gansfeld effect has been reported since ancient times. The adepts of Pythagoras retreated to pitch black caves to receive wisdom through their visions, known as the prisoner's cinema. Miners trapped by accidents in mines frequently reported hallucinations, visions, and seeing ghosts when they were pitch dark for days. Arctic explorers seeing nothing but featureless landscape of white snow for a long time also reported hallucinations and an altered state of mind.
Have you heard about the $1 million paranormal challenge?
Oh, is that what's his name? The Amazing Johnny, is it?
It was the James Randi Educational Foundation.
James Randi.
Offered to pay out $1 million to anyone who could demonstrate a supernatural paranormal ability.
James Randi is a fucking fraud. Fuck that guy. By the way, he is of the Small Hat tribe.
Apparently though, over 1,000 people applied, but no one was successful, and it was terminated in 2015.
Because he changed the goalposts every single time. That was the thing. There was people genuinely interesting, like psychic phenomena coming up to his feet, as well as a bunch of cranks. And then he just like, yeah, it says there, yeah. Here's a weird one, right? So I'm just looking at this, trying to find like telepathy and quantum entanglement. And there's this absolute mumbo-jumbo article on Wikipedia called Quantum Pseudo-Telepathy. Quantum pseudo-telepathy is the fact that in certain Bayesian games with asymmetric information, players who have access to shared physical system in an entangled quantum state, and who are able to execute strategies that are contingent upon measurements performed on the entangled physical system, are able to achieve higher expected payoffs in equilibrium than can be achieved in any mixed strategy Nash equilibrium of the same by players without access to the entangled quantum system. I don't know if they're talking about warp reactors or the teleporters on the brink, but it sounds like Star Trek. In their 1999 paper, Gilles Blassard, Richard Cleve, and Alain Tapp demonstrated that quantum pseudo-telepathy allows players in some games to achieve outcomes that would otherwise only be possible if participants were allowed to communicate during the game. And the phenomenon came to be referred to as quantum pseudo-telepathy, with the prefix pseudo referring to the fact that quantum pseudo-telepathy does not involve the exchange of information between any parties. Instead, quantum pseudo-telepathy removes the need for parties to exchange information in some circumstances. By removing the need to engage in communication to achieve mutually valuable output. You know what? I need to have a look at what an actual Bayesian games is. Maybe that's for another week, but... yeah, I think that'll be for another week. That one.
You did have some of the cards. You can the cards with the different symbols on that you've got to think to the other person. I did get them free with the Unexplained magazine.
Xena or Zeta cards. They were featured in.
They got different.
Featured in Starship Troopers as well as that other thing Henny mentioned.
They're called Xena cards. Xena cards.
I remember trying it with my mum when we were trying to do it because she couldn't get me interested in anything.
Do you remember when? What's his name? Uri Geller said he was going to fix anything you've got broken. You have to put on a picture of him on the sun. Does anyone remember that?
Yeah. And he was also involved in the England game at some point, wasn't he?
Reading. It was Reading. Win Reading. Win. Was it Reading? I remember that.
He tried to stop all nuclear wars or something, didn't he? Through the power of TV.
Hey, have we had a nuclear war?
Oh fuck! Yeah, he's obviously right. I remember once I was like, I had a telepathic experience with a friend. I would like often a friend would come round and we'd have a cup of tea a lot because we both like drinking cups of tea. I said I could do with a cup of, and we both said tea at the same time. It's amazing.
So we done. Hobbit, you got any more on telepathy?
Well, you know, I just cited some examples. There's a bit of research there for people that want it, and I just felt it was nice to also explain to people like I've done it, and we seem to have got a bunch of people saying, you know, various guesses there.
Oh yeah. We need to know the answer, don't we?
Right. So the answer is, and I'm going to forward the thing to Hemi so you can say, yep, that's the one. The card I picked out was a copy image, and then, if I put it in general, then everybody can see it. The card I picked is, and you all got it wrong, your files are too powerful. What do you mean your files are too powerful? How the fuck can I send a photograph to someone on Discord and you tell me my files are
8
bigger
megabyte
than...
limit. It's an 8 megabyte limit.
What the fuck? Anyway, the card's the Magician. Fucking dickhead. telling
We
me
were just talking about magicians. The clues were all there.
were we doing what's his name? The little weirdy beardy man, Darren Brown.
Yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't matter because
Victoria Wood's husband.
I picked this card.
Interdimensionalism says telepathy officially debunked. Then.
Bloody bongo.
Although
No.
the crazy thing is,
This is not how an experiment works. We cannot conclusively disprove telepathy with one experiment. The results are inconclusive.
it's too small a sample size, isn't it? The thing is, though,
a popular stream like the Kino Casino, we'll do the experiment again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
about telepathy, and it's all, this thing with, mediums are kind of connected, aren't they? And in the US, they've actually been used to provide evidence of murder cases.
Even in this country.
Did you never watch that? Did you ever watch Sense in Murder? Did you ever watch that TV series?
No.
You mean the Red Shoe Diaries?
No, Sense in Murder. It was in.
South Africa.
Here's another one. So, in addition to this sort of telepathy stuff, I'll post in a link. I won't go to Wikipedia because I'm bored of listening to just like, actually. So this is from Columbia.edu. Clairvoyant remote viewing, the US-sponsored psychic spying. And there was a guy who used to go on like various shows like Freeman, and I can't remember his name, but he was one of the guys involved in it, and he was asked to even remote view things on Mars and the Moon. Remote viewing, properly known as extrasensory perception, easy for you to say, is the ability.
It's not quite that though, is it?
What?
I'm just having a look on Unexplained Mysteries. $3,000 prize offered for remote viewing research.
Oh, right, okay. Well, anyway, remote viewing.
Can remote viewing predict stock prices?
The paper deals with experiments conducted in the USA, which certain individuals are trained to acquire such remote viewing capabilities for collecting military intelligence. During the Cold War years, the USA and Soviet Union are known to have been spying on each other using the services of psychic remote viewers, with a specific objective of gathering intelligence information of military significance.
That's what Uri Geller says, doesn't he? Uri Geller says that he was working for the CIA as a remote viewer, wasn't he?
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah.
So the two
You're calling Uri Geller a bullshit. The fucking absolute cheek of you, Ian. The front.
What if, Ian?
Uri Geller Damien says Uri Geller knocked out all radar systems for a rescue mission from Israel to Uganda, and there you are scoffing at him. Unbelievable.
What if, Ian? Uri Geller going on to telly to do all these ridiculous, stage tricks and stuff was to make you think he's a bullshitter, and to, everyone would just be like, oh, yeah, well, Uri Geller's just an entertainer. He never did anything for the Mossad or CIA.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He was on through the key. He was on through the keyhole, I remember.
There were two complementary components. Yeah, he was in England a lot, wasn't he? But...
Why don't Penn and Teller cover Uri Geller tricks?
Probably.
That'd be interesting.
Because Uri Geller did it himself. So they didn't need to debunk him.
There was a spoon up his sleeve, already bent.
Are you saying Uri Geller's a bender? Is that what you're saying? He was mates with Michael Jackson, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Information regarding this top secret program was partly declassified by the CIA in July 1995. Following a thaw in the Cold War. Since then, several research articles and many books have been published by some of the persons who are very closely associated with this program. These authors, however, expressed regret that they had not been permitted to reveal much of the sensitive details of the program. This present brief account is based on the public sources information.
Did you ever watch that TV series when they used to get like minor celebrities, when they used to get minor celebrities and regress them to past lives?
No.
Just to answer karaoke's thing, yes, you can get gallium spoons. They sort of melt in when you put them in your hand.
Didn't he change his
Uri
name
Geller-
to Pamela?
Uri Geller.
Who are they talking about now? Fucking, I'm lost.
Uri Geller should have warned the boys that Michael Jackson was heading towards them. Got their eye on them. Shouldn't he? If he was psychic, he should have warned them what was going to happen.
So
Well,
what
they
you
got
said,
buggered.
but isn't gallium like poisonous though? Hobbits.
No, mercury is.
Ah, right, okay then.
Yeah.
So gallium, so you could just rub it a bit and
Oh.
it'd bend. Is that what you're saying, Hobbit?
Gallium
Low
arsenide.
melting point.
Gallium arsenade's poisonous, but
Yeah.
those are used in semiconductors and not really.
What about have you ever seen the guys that that can move like yellow pages with their mind?
Yeah, when the doors open, yeah.
So
Well,
I'm reading
no,
this-
apparently what it is they're really good at like they can make like a really tiny thing in their lips to blow it over. so they put something between their lips and the page, and they suddenly can't do it, which is kind of weird.
Weird, because like back in the day, this was all kind of like sideshow traction stuff,
Yeah.
and people are still believing it. To this
In the
day.
70s, it was coming into the scientific world, but they soon got rid of it when they found that it wasn't actually working at all.
But like, I mean, when you look at how Jordan treats Harvey, that's like the modern day freak show, isn't it?
Mm.
It is, yeah, like that, and reality shows and
Yeah.
on the spectrum and all that shit.
Twins.
The Undateables.
Twins.
Like the Undateables is like the modern day freak show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Twins often claim to be telepathic, don't they? And they can speak to each other and all that shit.
Oh, I'm not going into twins
Did
again.
they?
Did you ever listen?
Oh.
Did you ever listen to our twins episode?
It rings a bell, but
When
My
everybody felt
grandmother,
sick. When everyone's felt sick afterwards.
when my grandmother's brother died, and he lives in Australia, and they hadn't communicated with each other in decades, she woke up in the middle of the night and turned to my grandfather and said, "My brother's dead." And then she got a phone call from his family the morning afterwards saying that your brother's dead.
Have you ever heard about like doppelgangers, where because I read one, it was where a woman's husband was a pilot, and the plane was like it was touch and go with the plane, and she saw her husband, and her husband appeared in the bedroom to her and spoke to her, but I think he survived, but it was like touch and go at the time.
What I don't get with the stuff about doppelgangers is this trope that, when you see your doppelganger, both of you have got to get into a fight to the death. I mean, if I met my mirror twin, we'd probably just go to the pub together and have a laugh.
Well, yeah, I was told by people that I looked like Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, and it's like, a heroin addict, great, I look like a heroin addict, thanks.
peculiar. Did you take advantage? Did you claim that you were him and go out and
I think
the girls with it?
I think Courtney Love was psychic, weren't she? Because she sent that electrician to go and do work in the room that Kurt Cobain shot himself in.
Yeah.
She must have been psychic. She must have had some sort of premonition he was going to shoot himself.
Yeah, because she mentally sent him like an image to add the last bit of his suicide note in her handwriting.
Have you heard about that one? Like about the electrician? She hired an electrician to do a job in the exact room he was going to top him. He topped himself in. It's just the whole thing. Just like, do you remember the Nick Broomfield documentary, the one where the bloke goes, The bloke's just like a total fucking alcoholic, where like he would have told you anything for a bottle of whiskey, and Nick Broomfield goes, he's trying to tell me something, but I don't know what. And then the guy ends up like, he decides it's a good idea to wander on the train tracks all by himself.
It was a very, very, very fishy affair, that was.
Yeah. Maybe you ought to. Maybe Ian ought to do the Courtney.
Kurt and Courtney. What do they? What's the deal? We got the.
He didn't.
He committed suicide.
Maybe he didn't put the shotgun in his own mouth. Maybe somebody else did it for him.
Wasn't there something about the shotgun wound in his head was. It would have blown his whole entire head off, but it was like a very small wound.
I thought it was the angle of the shotgun, how it was found on the floor.
We done with Telepathy because I got a little bit more on remote viewing.
Oh, go on then.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, really, isn't it?
So this is I'm not sure what SRI stands for. But they identified at least 6 star performers with an extraordinary inborn remote viewing talent. While the names of some of them have been revealed, others are only identified by a code number. Those revealed are briefly mentioned below. So this is Subject A. He's now known to be Joe McMonigal, receiver R372. So his primary target site was the electron accelerator at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, or the LLNL. Q supplied the name and social security number of an intelligence officer, which is the target person, which is unknown to the remote viewer and others stationed at SRI Labs. The assignment was to describe the target person's movements and ambience of his surroundings at 8-hour intervals during a span of 24 hours. Target person's actual movements. Besides moving to the LLNL site, the target person also viewed the windmill farm just outside the LLNL premises at 4 p.m. Results. Fuzzy set analysis doesn't explain what fuzzy set analysis is. Of various descriptions provided by the receiver showed that the overall accuracy of the remote viewing was 77% and overall reliability 78%. I don't understand. It doesn't explain its methodology. The reliability description of the windmill farm was 100%, accurately defined as percentage of target elements described correctly by the viewer, and reliability as percentage of receiver response that is correct. So example B, swimming pool complex at Rinneconda Park, Palo Alto in 1974. The viewing was carried out by Patch Price, who described by Russell Targ as one of their psychic treasures. The target was selected randomly from out of a target pool of sites, unknown to Pat Price and Russell Targ, who was stationed inside a Faraday cage in the radiophysics building of SRI International Labs. Hal Puthoff and an associate Bart. So Hal Puthoff and an associate Bart drove off to the target site, which was 5 miles away. After the allotted time of 30 minutes, Pat Price was asked to view and describe the target site. Pat said he saw a circular pool of water about 100 feet in diameter. It was actually 110 foot. He also saw a rectangular pool 60 by 80 foot. It was actually 75
would say,
by
100. Actually, it was 110 feet, so the bloke's bullshitting.
and also, the rectangular pool was actually 75 by 100 foot long, so it wasn't 60 by 80 foot, you dickhead. He went on to describe a concrete block house, which also at the site, he drew a diagram of the complex. Pat said the site seemed to be a water purification plant and 2 water storage tanks or some rotating machinery such as pumps, etc. After completing and drawing and description, all of them drove to the site to assess the accuracy of Pat's viewing. Everything was remarkably accurate except for the 2 water tanks and the water purification plant, which were absent. See? You're just putting details in.
You're just fucking making it up.
Fucking dickheads. Straps on my homebrew
just
Professor
like to be fair, I've got to give that guy his props, like for guessing that width and breadth, because I am absolutely terrible at guessing feet and inches stuff.
Emmy, this bit here it's that name again. The amazing example brings out one of the remarkable features of remote viewing, namely the ability of consciousness to access the past. In RV literature, or remote viewing
Well, he's probably
literature,
been there before. Is that what they're going to go? Well, he's probably been there before.
in RV literature, it's referred to as retrocognition. In more ancient Indian texts, it is described as accessing the Akashic records.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. This is the
I
guy.
I honestly believe there's some sort of psychic web.
Yeah, the Akashic records.
Yeah.
There will be literally soon with like Neuralink, won't there?
Yeah.
So this is the name I was trying to remember. Ingo Swann. So INGO Swann, SWANN. Ingo Swann, the famous psychic who was in fact responsible for getting Hal Puthoff and his colleagues at SRI Labs interested in investigating the boundary between the animate and the inanimate, whatever that means. But he's been on Freeman and Coast to Coast and other sort of shows like that. In 1972, suggested carrying out an experiment to remote view the planet Jupiter before the upcoming NASA Pioneer 10 flyby.
I've got an email. Yes. Hi, we would like to offer you a very favourable commercial offer. Dear Fortean Words, our project search a new audience. In the first place, of course, YouTube. It can also consider other sources. Your audience corresponds to our young project and is the target. We want you to post our pre-roll on your channel. Our budget will depend on where you place our video. The minimum we pay is $150 USD. We look forward to hearing from you soon. With best regards! !
I've not heard your channel.
Sounds legit. Sounds legit.
No, obviously they have heard our channel and they really like it. And if you want me to do a live read, I can do a live read.
What's the other one? What's the good one I got offered? I got offered a good one, didn't I?
But
what's 50 divided by 4? What's that each?
Yeah.
Whilst Hemming's reading out his things, I just say this is Ingo Swann. Remote viewing the planet Jupiter before any probes had gone to properly see it. He found a ring around Jupiter and wondered if perhaps he had remote viewed the planet Saturn by mistake. But when the Pioneer 10 flyby did take place, it confirmed the existence of rings around Jupiter. Funny enough, because back when I was a kid, just drawing pictures of the planets, I used to draw all the inner planets and the big gas giants and the slightly smaller Uranus and Neptune and Pluto.
Uranus, you at it now?
Did you use a mirror?
Uranus, you're doing a Fraser on us, are you? Uranus.
Your anus, but your rectum. Now,
rectum.
When I drew the planets. I drew and I drew a big ring around Saturn, and I did a ring around Uranus, and I did a thin ring around Jupiter. My dad said, and this would have been in the 80s, there's no rings around Jupiter. But then, later on in the
Do you have rings around Uranus, Hobbit?
Yeah, there are. And they say, here's the pictures from Pioneer 10 showing, in fact, there is a ring around Jupiter. So, I was right, and it was funny because
so you have rings around Jupiter, but not around Uranus.
I just assumed because it said, maybe I read that with Saturn. Well, no, I wasn't able to read back then, so I just saw that was it. I saw all the other gas giants had a ring, so I thought, Jupiter must have a ring.
And Uranus has a ring as well.
Does Uranus release a gas giant?
Yes.
Did
you were champing at the bit to get that one out.
Did you draw Pluto with a beard to denote it as a dwarf planet?
No, because back in the 80s we didn't deal with such bullshit as
hold on, Hobbit. Let's just. Hello, I work as an advertising specialist at Axie Infinity. The experts have studied your YouTube and we would like to offer you a paid collaboration. Our interest is for you to tell your subscribers about Axie Infinity. Ad type, introduction in a video about 2 to 3 minutes. What is Axie Infinity? Axie Infinity is an NFT online video game developed by Vietnamese studio Sky Mavis. Known for its in-game economy, which uses Ethereum-based cryptocurrencies, we would be interested in collaborating with you. If you're interested in our offer, please let us know. We'll send you a sample video and agreement with our organisation, word file. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Then all you need to do is buy a gift card.
That's from Manager Works Manager Works
Is it-
S at Atlas.
Is it not from an African prince?
So you say yes to this stuff, right? Because we'll definitely do live reads for their game. I say live reads, have the role, but if they want our voice to carry weight for it, give me a script and I'll read it out and
Hobbit's
say
got
how
a perfect
great it
voice
is.
for Axie Infinity. I'm gonna have a look at Axie Infinity and see how good it is.
Axie Infinity, play now.
Yeah.
Not just play now for free, but play now and get
Axie
NFTs.
Infinity. JML still owe us the money though, don't they?
Yeah, that
Have
is
you
true.
reached?
They've
reached
sold over
1,000 subs
2.8
yet,
million. Axie Infinity have.
So
Have you reached 1,000 subs yet, though?
Getting started.
Oh,
No.
it doesn't matter. These advertisers know that we're hot shit, so that's why they
I have
want
to
to
know
create
that
a
you're on-
Ronin wallet, whatever that is.
Anyway,
And-
we've got
and
13
you have to
minutes
use-
left,
you-
so
Have to use gift cards.
Should we give them a free run? Like Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity is a game-filled universe filled with fascinating creatures. Axies that players can collect as pets. Players aim to battle, breed, collect, raise, and build kingdoms for their Axies. The universe has a player-owned economy where players can truly own, buy, sell, and trade resources they earn in the game through skilled gameplay and contributions to the ecosystem.
They're better than Raid Shadow Legends, though.
Nothing's better than Raid Shadow Legends. If you want us to advertise your product, we will, no problem.
yep.
Me and
You
Hobbit
just-
are
you-
huge fans of it. It looks like the poor man's. It looks like the poor man's Pokemon, to be honest.
Maybe we
Well,
should
no,
approach
you
the
go.
tobacco companies. They're sort of banned everywhere.
Fags are cool, kids.
Yeah,
Oh, I
trust the girls.
I mean, I definitely advocate for some of the tobacco I smoke. So yeah, I mean, we've got Camel and Marlboro cigarettes, Philip Morris. If you want to get in touch,
Smoke,
We'll sell fags to kids. We don't care.
smoke Golden Virginia. It's great for my lungs.
I like Camels. Davidoff as well. There's another one which is good. I like Davidoffs.
JML.
LMB.
JML won't have anything to do with us, though, will they, Hobbit?
If
Bloody
Manscaped approach you, you've got it made.
JML promised us £50,000 for a 6-week advertising campaign.
Yeah.
We didn't see a single.
Which we
We
did.
didn't see a single
faithfully.
bloody penny of it.
Yeah.
When we're talking about how great their fucking shitty products are, didn't see a single bloody penny.
Yeah.
Rubbish. But anyway, I'm on Unexplained Histories now. New theory of gravity can remove the need for dark matter. He says, Mon's main postulate is that when gravity becomes very weak, as occurs in the edge of galaxies, it starts behaving differently from Newtonian physics. In this way, it's possible to explain why stars, planets, and gas.
So what?
The outskirts.
So do you think Pluto is a planet or not a planet? Because it's
It's
not
a
a
planet.
planet anymore, is it?
It's a planet. Fuck off. That's like
That's
like trying to tell me that.
compromise.
You
It's
know
a
what?
dwarf planet.
You know what? Saying that Pluto's not a planet is like when people say, "Oh, well, what is a woman?" But then when you ban abortion, suddenly everyone knows what a woman is.
So it's a leftist conspiracy.
It fucking is. It literally, it's just like all the lefties do
Who
now.
was that? Who was that Yank politician, the one that said that I'm not a biologist, so I don't know what a woman is? Do you remember that one?
I think that was quite.
Yeah, Starmer.
Was it
No,
Stacey
I remember the
Abrams or something? Was it?
I don't know.
She was one of Biden's lot,
Yeah.
wasn't she?
Yeah, I'm not.
What are
qualified to say
Pluto's
woman.
pronouns?
Wasn't Pluto a reggae singer as well as a cartoon dog?
Pluto.
Yeah.
Yes, because they do say.
Ah, Here we go. The 1800-year-old curse unearthed at necropolis in Israel.
Nice. Yeah.
A grave marker inscribed with the curse in red lettering was found during conversation work at Bel Shaitan Park.
Yeah.
Dating back 1800 years, the inscribed text seemingly
Are we
written
doing some
by the...
thingy? Are we?
we got another 9 minutes, and then I'm going to bed.
I could do some. I've got the latest Fortean Times, so I can do some of the sideline stuff.
Sure, I'll just read this curse. It says, the grave's occupant, a 6-year-old Judaism convert named Jacob, warning us not to disturb the burial after his death. The discovery, which was published this month by University of Fortean, an Israel Antiquities Authority, was made at the Jewish Bal Shaitan Cemetery last year. The inscription, along with another found in the wall nearby, were the first to be identified in the necropolis in 65 years. Jacob, also known as Jacobus, I suppose that's Greek, the convert swears upon himself that any who open this grave will be cursed, it reads. Beneath the inscription is a thick red line under which someone else wrote, aged 60. Yeah, it's all in Greek. At the time, it wasn't unusual for someone to write their own grave marker prior to death. I'm sure he prepared his stone before he died, said Professor Jonathan.
Quite a lot of people sort all that out before they die.
Yeah. Said Professor Jonathan Price of Tel Aviv University, who was responsible for deciphering the inscription. Whether he wrote it with his hand or not, we can't know. Jacob the convert vows to curse anybody who would open this grave, so nobody will open it. Reads, yeah, that's just repeating ourselves now. But that's it. Man says, better not open my graves. Oh, the Georgia Guidestones got knocked down. And
it got
the
blown
head
up.
of...
It didn't just get knocked down, it got fucking blew up.
I get knocked down again, but it never keep me down, is what the head of this visor said, because he vows to finance the reconstruction of it.
Nobody knows who created it in the first place, do they? I thought.
R.C. Christian, whoever that is.
Roman Catholic. Did you know police in Zwickau, Germany, arrested a man they describe as Nazi Santa? The 39-year-old had set up a workshop manufacturing swastika tree decorations, calendars and busts of Nazi leaders. Any display or manufacture of Nazi insignia is illegal in Germany. Subscribe to his Patreon right now. Mark Collett will be right up for that.
Also, RC could stand for Rosicrucian.
Ah, right, okay.
I hate RC Christians.
Yeah. Villages in Credenhill near Hertford were subjected to a bizarre series of meat attacks in early April. Police reported one car had lamb chops rammed up its exhaust pipe, while another was found with a chicken leg hanging from a wheel rim. 2 houses had meat and eggs thrown at them as well.
Sounds like a waste of good meat.
Yeah, it does sound like a bit of a waste. So when Jimmy
Savile was known for his meat attacks.
Oh no! When estimates for fixing the stop clock on Grimsby Minster topped 50,000, church wardens were resigned to saying its staying stopped. However, 18 months after it ground to a halt, it started working again, seemingly of its own accord, telling the correct time. Church warden Chris Daniel called it a miracle, particularly as there was only one key for the clock tower, and it had not been given to anyone for some weeks prior to the horological resurrection.
Yeah, that the horologists are those that are interested with clocks. The Horology Society is the Clock Society.
What else we got? When he received his compensation cheque from Northern Power Grid after he suffered a power cut during Storm Arwen, Gareth Hughes, 44 of Hebden Bridge, West Yorkshire, was slightly taken aback by the amount. The cheque was for $2,324,252,000. 090,110, slightly more than the gross domestic product of the whole of Britain in 2021. The Northern Power Grid blamed a clerical error.
He should have cashed the cheque. Yeah. We're like, mate, that's not my problem. Can you give us the money back? It's not my problem, mate. Money's resting in my account now.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's resting in my account. Like, no, I'm gonna be the new God, can you imagine what you could do with £2 billion?
Fucking hell! A 50-year-old man got an unwelcome surprise after sneaking onto a property near Yangcheng in China to fish in the owner's pond. The land was guarded. The land was guarded by an ostrich that repeatedly attacked him while he attempted to fend it off with a pole, eventually managing to make his escape. Ostriches are very short-tempered and have a record of kicking people to death.
Yep. They must be pretty powerful creatures. Like, I mean, even people get their arms broken by geese and swan.
Yeah. What's this one? What else
Excuse me.
Well, whilst we got a bit of dead air, though, I'm going to be on CFZ TV coming up, so watch out. I'm going to be talking about Loch Ness.
CFZ TV? What's that?
Yeah, Centre for Fortean Zoology TV. They're quite well known. So I'm going to be coming in there in the coming weeks if you want to tune in.
Nice.
Do some cryptozoology.
Yeah.
I hope you're going to be plugging the show you're on.
I'll be on cam as well, so you can see me as well.
Oh,
so.
no.
Yeah. But I'm going to use some of the footage that we saw on that I used the other night when we covered Loch Ness. So you had it first.
What the fuck? Hold on. What the fuck is this I'm reading here? In their 1975 movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the zany lads enact a hilarious and satirical sketch on the holy hand grenade of Antioch. It transpires their humour could have been nearer the mark than one might think.
There's a holy hand grenade of Antioch.
New research has identified what was possibly a hand grenade, originally excavated in the Armenia Garden, Jerusalem. This dates from the 11th to 12th centuries, and one of 4 small, thick-walled...
Can I do a Snopes?
Go on then, do a Snopes.
Actually, it was in the Armenia Garden of Jerusalem. It wasn't the holy hand grenade of Antioch, so they got it wrong.
The Arabs had that technology, didn't they?
It's quite an explosive discovery, isn't it?
Yeah. And on that bombshell.
It's one of 4 small, thick-walled, sphero-conical sherds. Is a sherd when you fart and then follow through? Or is that...
I think it's a shot.
The researchers state in a recent paper, using a range of sophisticated analytical methods, including gas chromatography and mass spectrography.
Easy for you to say.
Definitely. They found that 3 of the objects had variously contained oils, scented material, and probable medical substance. There's no fucking actual scientific basis for any of this bollocks, don't you? But the 4th was unique, being a stoneware spheroconical undecorated object with very thick walls. Moreover, it contained chemical ingredients for an explosive device consistent with the medieval grenade. The researchers feel that this distinction meant the object had a specific function that did not exist before the 9th century and after the 15th century, implying a defined category. Perhaps Brother Maynard might know more about it. I take it Brother Maynard's the one that comes up with the holy hand grenade of Antioch, isn't he?
Well, there's something in that. If they used mass spectrophotometry, they can use because I used to use one of these things.
Yeah.
You can identify the individual chemical elements that were involved, like the.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. Just by you kind of burn it. You kind of burn a sample. And you can test the vibration. It kind of measures the vibration of the electrons, how fast they vibrate, or something like that, and it tells you which chemical elements are involved.
So it's a bit like using a prism for spectroscopy of stars, except you're doing it with substances that you're vaporizing.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh, do you want to talk about some fairies for a second?
Not to be confused with furries.
Yeah, the year is about 1820, and William Butterfield is walking up in the pre-dawn to his work at Ilkley. He owns the White Wells, the springs on the edge of the moorland, which are believed to have healing qualities. Ilkley folk and increasingly health tourists are arriving to try their luck in the freezing cold waters that run off the sodden heather. Cresting the hill, Butterworth has what Fortean sometimes call an Oz moment. Birdsong sounds unusually sweet. Shrugging the impression off, he puts his key in the lock at the walled open bath, but the lock does not work. Even after getting the lock to turn, it is a struggle to get the door open. It is almost as if something is pushing against him. And what does he see when the door finally gives way? All over the well, skimming on its surface like water spiders, or dipping into it as if they were taking a bath, was a swarm of little people. I believe you call them I know you're not allowed to call them midgets. That's like using the N word, isn't it? The biggest of them, not above 18 inches, 46 centimeters high. Yeah, they. Well,
why not? They call us biggers.
Yeah, bigger. Yeah, they seemed perfect human beings. They bathed with all their clothes on. Why did they do that? Butterfield noticed that they were dressed from head to foot in green. The fairies took one look at Butterfield and chased off, running up and over an 8-foot wall. Butterfield's encounter is a Fortean classic, though perhaps we should not be too trusting. After all, it was written down by two separate authors who were telling us of the events of that day at third hand, 50 years after Butterworth had his brush with the impossible. However, fairy springs and fairy wells remain, although through the centuries, some of the best places to see fairies, at least in Britain. Most fairy sites in England, Scotland and Wales are found far from human habitation. There is the pastoral human sphere and the wild fairy realms. Fairy wells are different.
Fairies can be sighted during June.
Yes, bearing in mind fairies fill bathtubs up with kitty litter and poop in it. They are often on the very edge of villages, as if they can constitute a shared resource, a meeting place between the human world and the world of fairy beyond.
I was talking about fairies.
Furries or fairies?
Both. I'm saying that homosexuals are also known as fairies.
Oh, those fairies. You mean the fairies that hang around on Hampstead Heath and fist Norman Lamont?
The ones that also do Drag Queen Story Hour, they're fairies.
They're often on the very edge of villages, as if they got. This may have been the case at Ilkley too. Not only did the well have healing qualities, but the band of moorland beyond had several fairy sites, including the Fairies' Kirk or Church, a rocky outcrop where we must assume the fairies prayed to their fairy gods. But there is another reason that Butterfield should not have been surprised to see his fairy neighbours. His adventures took place on the 24th of June, just as the sun was rising, at the end of the most fairy time of the year, Midsummer Night. Oh, fuck, we've missed the 24th. Sorry. Why did they put it in the wrong month? They should have put this in last month's one, shouldn't they?
I saw one of those. I'd kick it in the face. In the name of science, so we could do an autopsy and find out what they are.
Stamp on it.
We should make a video called Fairy Autopsy and put it on the web.
Fairy.
Make $1 million like those guys did.
Yeah, the Santilli film. There's a documentary about that, isn't there?
But Anton Decker.
Anton Deck, yeah.
Yeah, Anton Decker is the drama about it.
What was I watching? I was watching a documentary the other day about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Mm.
Yeah, that was quite interesting.
Any good?
Yeah, it was quite interesting actually. Like, Ed seems like a pretty decent guy, doesn't
he? Yeah. Funny business.
Mm.
Well, there's a new documentary on psychedelics, which you'd probably like, Hobbit. They go through each different one, starting with LSD.
That's an idea for a program, isn't it? It'll be a long episode, though. About 8 hours long.
Yeah, I've actually done a documentary about the spider experiments. I mean, I wouldn't mind watching a documentary on that.
The spider experiments.
Yeah, you know, where they gave the spiders the different drugs.
Yeah, the spider on marijuana, instead of weaving a web, made a hammock, and the spider on crack cocaine stole a car, and then sought prostitutes, and then
What did the spider on straight fent do?
die, and then took over the marijuana spider's hammock and made him work as a slave.
Can you believe, Ian, that Hobbit buried the lead? Where is it?
He buried the lead.
He buried the lead.
Anyway, it's 10 o'clock, so it's time for us to fuck off.
No, he buried the lead. A filmed experiment on telephone telepathy with the Nolan sisters, Ian.
I didn't know this was real. I just thought this was random shit.
It's that link you gave me. It's one of the links off of that. I can't believe he buried the lead.
Oh, okay.
The lead was obviously the Nolan sisters.
Oh, cool.
A filmed experiment. They filmed an experiment.
Yeah.
While promoting their new album.
So the 12. I'll just talk you through table 1. The 12 trials with Colleen Nolan as participant, with the exact times at which the telephone started ringing. So it was out of the 12. I can't bother. I shan't read that out. Right. So trial 1. Caller Maureen, guess Maureen. Trial 2. Caller Anne, guess Linda. Trial 3, caller Maureen, guess Linda. Trial 4, guess Denise. Caller Denise, guess Denise. So trial 5, guess caller Anne, guess Maureen. Caller 6, guess caller Linda, guess Linda. Caller 7, guess Denise. Caller Denise, guess Maureen. Caller 8, guess caller Denise, guess Maureen. Caller 9, Anne, guess Anne. Caller 10, Linda, guess Linda. Caller 11, Anne, guess Maureen. Caller 12, guess caller Denise.
So what
guess
was
Denise.
the hit result?
Out of the 12 trials, Colleen correctly identified who was calling in 6. P equals 0, 0.5. Both the binomial and chi-squared test. I don't know what that means. Colleen's scores with her 4 callers are shown in Table 2. The lowest success rate with her eldest sister, Anne, who was sceptical about telephone telepathy. With Linda, who described herself as Colleen's favourite sister, she was right in both trials. With Denise and Maureen, her success rate was 50%. However, she said Linda 4 times altogether and was wrong twice, and said Maureen 5 times and was wrong 4 times. Although she said Anne only once and Denise twice, she was right each time she said these names.
Can you just cover that again, please?
I'll go to Table 2. So the caller was Anne. 4 trials. And then once she said was Anne, 0 times she said Denise, once was Linda, 2 was Maureen, and she was 25% right.
So it's way more than statistically significant. I have done a chi-squared.
So she was bang on with Anne. So sister Anne, she was 25% right. Sister Denise, 4 trials, 0 Anne, 2 Denise, 0 Linda, 2 Maureen. So she was 50% right. Linda, 2 trials, 0 Anne, 0 Denise, 2 Linda, 0 Maureen. So she was 100% right. With Maureen, she had 2 trials, 0 Anne, 0 Denise, 1 Linda, 1 Maureen. She was 50% right. So in total, she had 12 trials. She was correct once with Anne. She was correct twice with Denise, 4 times with Linda, and 5 times with Maureen. And she was 50% right.
Where does Karen come into this?
There weren't a Karen, was there?
There's always a Karen.
She was speaking to the manager about it, saying this psychic experiment's going on.
Karen.
I don't like it. I got my children here.
Oh, this was on Channel 5, if you want to find this thing. So apparently it was on Channel 5.
It was shown just after the Red Shoe Diaries.
Well, you got a bit of a thing for the Nolan sisters, then, have you? You associate them with the Red Shoe Diaries.
Yeah.
You know the Nolan sisters, don't you, Hobbit? I think you're a bit too young.
I'm watching a video on this guy putting a USB-C socket into his iPhone.
You want to watch a
were
video on "I'm in the Mood for Dancing" by the Nolan sisters, Hobbit? You'll love that.
I could do that, or alternatively, I could watch a video on starting up an old diesel engine.
No,
you know my tastes.
No. Watch "I'm in the Mood for Dancing" by the Nolan sisters. You'll fucking love it, Hobbit.
Yeah,
It'll be right up your street. That will.
Yeah. I like watching videos about engineering.
Don't watch I'm in the Mood for Dancing in that case.
Yeah.
I know the song, and I think I've seen the Nolan sisters, but they haven't left much impression on me. I liked Bananarama. I thought their music was pretty good.
Favorite Bananarama song, Hobbit?
She's got it, baby. She's got it.
Oh, Venus.
Oh,
you weren't a fan of Robert De Niro's Calling.
Oh yeah, that's a good talk attack. That's this. I don't think there's a single Bananarama song I dislike. So that I was actually humming that to myself a few weeks ago when I was shopping.
What else? Can anyone remember any more Bananarama songs?
Cruel Summer.
Cruel Summer.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. The ones they did with Funboy 3. And
they the way you do it. Is it you wait what you do?
The way you do it.
That's the way you get results.
The way that you do it. That's what gets results. Yeah.
That's the one I remember.
Didn't they change members? Like, or is this a Mandela effect? I'm convinced that they changed members at some point.
Weren't like two of the women in it became part of Shakespeare's sister?
No, they came from. Yes. Hold on.
No, Shakespeare's sister was just two women, wasn't it?
No,
one of them was Bananarama.
One of them was from Siobhan, and she was in Bananarama.
Yeah.
I prefer
Love in the First Degree. I Want You Back.
Oh. Want You Back for Good? No, that's
it's I Want You Back. Isn't it a cover of the Jackson 5 one?
I don't know.
Band-Aid, they were in that.
I Want You Back. I Want You Back. Ooh.
No, that's a different song.
Isn't it?
I was distracted by the main one from the Bangles at the time.
Oh, she's old now. If you've seen her.
Members. Here we go. Members. Sarah Dallin was in all of it. Karen Woodward was in all of it. Siobhan Fahey, she was the one who went on to
Shakespeare's sister.
And then Jackie O'Sullivan, she came in and Siobhan came back in 2017 to 2018 by the looks of it. And then there was Jackie O'Sullivan who was in from 1988 to 1992.
But surely they would have lost their looks by 2018.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Concert tours. Fuck, they're still touring. In Stereo UK tour, 2019 was the last time. Do you know they've got an album out now? They've got a current album out.
What greatest hits?
Masquerade. Bananarama album. No, all new songs by the
Bananarama.
Yeah, Fate.
Dance released a new
Masquerade.
song as well.
Masquerade is the upcoming 12th studio album by English musical duo Bananarama. So it's Sarah Dallin and the other one.
Where does the name come from? Is it like an old term for bukkake?
I don't know. It doesn't say. They normally say about the name, don't they? Well, Bananarama formed in September 1980 when teenagers and childhood friends Sarah Dallin and Karen Woodward moved from Bristol to London and met Siobhan Fahey. Dallin and Fahey were studying journalism at the London College of Fashion. and Woodward was working at the BBC in Portland Place. Dallin and Woodward were living at the YMCA and were about to be made homeless until Paul Cook, whom they had become fast friends after meeting at a club, offered them a place to live above former Sex Pistols rehearsal room in Denmark Street, Charing Cross. They took their name in part from the Roxy Music song Pajama Rama. There you go.
Been to Denmark Street.
That's where the name comes from.
What did Paul Cook get in return of this free accommodation he was giving them?
I don't know. Doesn't say.
Nice. That's the history of Bananarama.
Oh, it's the Fun Boy 3, wasn't it? They did this.
Yeah.
What you do with. Weren't they the backing group or something? For the Fun Boy?
Yeah. Fun Boy 3 came about after the split of the specials.
Isn't it? Yeah. Because it's Terry Hall.
Neville and Lionel.
Yeah, the Fun Boy 3 then guested on Bananarama's single Really Saying Something. I don't remember Blake singing on that one.
Yeah, well, they did. But Fun Boy 3, they copied UB40 because UB40 was a form in the unemployment office.
Yeah.
And also the FB3 form as well was another unemployment form.
Ah,
so, yeah.
Right, okay then. I did not know that.
In Thatcher's Britain. Yeah.
Thatcher's. It's Thatcher's.
Yeah, they all hated Thatcher, didn't they?
Yeah, Thatch. Am I right?
Yeah.
Or should I do the Ben Elton? Thatcher,
Yeah,
am I right? Damien
Gotta
said,
get a double seat.
Damien wants us to talk about Susanna Hoff. Susanna Hoff's.
Not these days. No, I wouldn't talk about her these days. She's an old woman.
Has she gone off the boil, has she?
Yeah, things have dropped south.
You know when you call an ugly girl a boiler, do you know what the origin of that phrase is?
Not really. I imagine a boiler
is an old chicken. Is an old chicken that you have to boil up to make it tender and eatable.
I see. There's also a boiler is a kind of a big unit you have upstairs, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit like that bird from. Oh fuck! What was that thing? You know that woman from the start of The Living Daylights, the big ugly woman who was in that. What was that TV series? The Sex Lives of something. What was it called? You know the ugly lesbian-looking bird. What was it called? It was like a massive series in the 80s, wasn't it?
Old French.
Where she was like a ugly lesbian type woman. And oh fuck, I'm gonna have to look this up now. This is
Life and Loves of a She-Devil.
That's the one. That's the one. You know the one.
Judy Wallace.
No, the ugly lesbian bird. That's
not. I'm getting there.
She never really did anything, did she?
Just played a lesbian
Apart
whenever
that,
she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the week. Are we going into like bizarre 80s shit now? Are we? TV miniseries 1986. That was.
Who had a mullet? Yeah.
Julie T. Wallace. Her name was.
I see. Did it? Forgot the T.
Yeah,
Julie Wallace.
The T.
She was big, wasn't she? Big woman.
Yeah. Oh, she was in Don't Wait Up. Who was in that? I can't remember that. I remember it's a sitcom, but I can't remember who was in it.
Ted Lowe, someone like that.
She was in some Zorro TV series in 1991.
Zorro the Gay Blade.
Zorro the. Do you remember the Flashing Blade? That TV series that they.
Yeah, it was badly dubbed, wasn't it?
Yeah, they redubbed it for a laugh.
Yeah, yeah. Used to put it on the summer holidays in the morning.
Yeah.
Like Robinson Crusoe.
Oh, she was in an episode of Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we've run out of content now, haven't we?
Cool. And it's Thursday, not a Saturday or a Wednesday, isn't it? Wednesday.
I shall re-up it tomorrow anyway. So.
Cool. Right.
Right.